Hello everyone, welcome to today's learning series session on Amazon SageMaker Unified Studio Integration with Amazon QuickSights. To present today, I'm Neeraj Kumar, Solution Architect here at AWS, and I also have my colleague Salim Khan who will be presenting with me, and he will be doing deep dive demo later today. As part of the agenda, we'll start with a GenAI overview, and then we'll talk about how Amazon SageMaker, our next generation service, can help with it. If you're not familiar with Amazon QuickSights, this is a great opportunity to know about that as well. And finally, we will get into the demo, how SageMaker Studio is integrated with QuickSight to help prep data or create a data catalog, and then you can use a QuickSight to visualize your data. After the demo, we'll share the resources and also we'll make sure to add it to our YouTube channel once the recording is uploaded. With that, we can get started. As you see here, a great study from McKinsey recently around the value of generative AI, and they have been able to estimate this between 2.6 to $4.4 trillion annually for the global economy. So there's a lot of value to be had. This is a nascent technology, it's evolving quickly, and there's a lot of new value that will be created for many organizations, for many customers. But for the lifeblood of that is fluid access to the data on for a specific business context or a problem. And without having the data within the right relevant context, without having data curated to the right problem, it will be very hard to leverage AI at scale across the organization. So I think that is this quote and this finding from McKinsey, which is really relevant to become the message around this topic. By now, everyone understands the power of generative AI and how it's taken the world by storm. As the world moves beyond pure experimentation and bringing the AI and Gen AI applications to the production environments to scale and transform how the companies and organizations work, data becomes the biggest differentiator in ensuring these workloads are successful. At AWS, we tend to think of Gen AI applications as a new application type that sits on top of your existing data foundation. This means you want to plug in your existing data sources like data lakes, or could be operational databases or warehouses, and even your external data. Customers don't want to create a new data architectures for what is a new application set. They want to rather leverage and extend existing data architecture. A curious thing about the transformation happening in the industry right now is that the way the data workers and application developers are working, it's changing. And the lines are blurring and the pace is getting more rapid. So it's more essential than ever to get your data foundation right and bridging the gap between what you already have within your data architecture while enabling the simpler, faster experiences, all the while adhering to governance rules and data and any of your privacy requirements. Let's take a look at example of a sales campaign analysis data problem that needs a data analyst, engineers, and data scientists from sales, marketing, and finance team to work together. The problem starts with the analysts and scientists looking for the right data to use. And where do they go? Once they find the right data, they need to find the owners to get access to it. And how do they do that? Once they get access, they need to connect it with the analysis tool of their choice. This is hard. And once they analyze the data, they want to share it with their team so that they can validate and build upon the work they just did. So there's no place for them to collaborate together with the same data. While doing data analysis as fast as they can, they also want to make sure they are following the access and governance policies for the company. This is super hard. Based on the customer feedbacks and what the customers are telling us, that they are seeing their analytics and AI workloads increasingly converge around a lot of the same data and a lot of the same workflows. They aren't using the analytics and AI tools in isolation. They are using their historical analytics data to train the machine learning models. They're also increasingly using the same data when they incorporate generative AI into their applications. We also see the convergence of the data roles. Increasingly, the data analysts, data scientists, data engineers, and even the app developers, they all need to collaborate seamlessly. They're working in a world where data analytics and AI boundaries are blurring, and time to insight is crucial. At the same time, many organizations have data in different systems, data lakes, data warehouses, different applications. Customers want to unlock the full potential of their data. But when data is stored across the data sources in the company, it's challenging to get the right data quickly. It also adds cost and complexity to manage them. Some customers also have a multiple governance models with duplicated data access controls and that are expensive to keep in sync and slow down the organization's ability to deliver the analytics that they are looking for. As you might know, AWS has the broadest and deepest set of purpose-built analytics and AI ML tools that span a wide range of workloads and with the best-in-class price, performance, and scale. Customers can select the right tool for the right job. To address the challenges we just talked about, we are taking Amazon SageMaker, which is used already by hundreds of thousands of customers to build, train, and deploy the machine learning models. And we are expanding it by integrating the most comprehensive set of data, analytics, and AI tools. SageMaker is our unified platform for all your data analytics, AI, and BI. It can allow you to collaborate and build faster with a single data and AI development environment. You can develop and scale your AI use cases. You can reduce the data silos with an open lakehouse to unify all your data. You can build in data and AI governance, and that can meet your enterprise security needs. A next generation of SageMaker offers a unified platform for data analytics and AI. It addresses the core challenges that our customers are facing when it comes to building a data strategy that supports AI. Here you can collaborate and build faster from a unified studio using a familiar AWS tools for model development, generative AI, data processing, and SQL analytics, all accelerated by the Amazon Q developer, the most capable generative AI assistant for software development. Soon we will be adding a streaming, and we also have just recently allowed business intelligence to be part of the family. And in later sometime, we will also have the search analytics capabilities as well to be added. You can reduce the data silos with an open lakehouse. Now you can access all your data, whether it's stored in data lakes, data warehouses, third-party or federated data sources. Your governance is built end to end for your data and your AI initiatives, which can help you meet your enterprise security needs. We know the SageMaker Studio. Now it's time to understand what QuickSight does. We define the QuickSight as our unified BI platform on cloud, which can serve all your analytics needs. QuickSight is purpose-built on a serverless architecture, which can scale efficiently and instantly to hundreds of thousands of users. And with no software or service to install or manage, you can lower the cost by eliminating the investment in unnecessary resources. You can easily subscribe to QuickSight within AWS, connect to your data. You can use a direct query or by importing the data into a Spice, which is our super fast in-memory calculation engine, which can provide high performance and auto scaling. That is all built in. Once you have access to the data set, you can build from there to create insights and share with your stakeholders. It could be a form of the dashboards, interactive dashboards. It can be a pixel perfect report, or you can take those assets and embed it and perform the embedded analytics as well. Since our launch, the lower cost has been our focus. And with the usage-based pricing, customers can reduce the spend by simply paying for what they use. And there's no long-term contracts for hidden cost for any extra servers here. QuickSight allows the fine-grained control over the data access and user permissions. This could be RLS, or you can have the row level security, column level securities. You can also have perform resource level permissions, which is to make sure the authorized users get to access the assets and the data they are supposed to. Enabling Amazon QuickSight integration in SageMaker Unified Studio allows data consumers to directly visualize and analyze data from the SageMaker catalog using the QuickSight. With QuickSight and SageMaker Unified Studio, which we recently launched, users can access their data and employ the built-in business intelligence visualization capabilities, reaching a more of a seamless data analysis workflow. With this integration, now users can go from exploring the data in the SageMaker Unified Studio to visualize it in QuickSight with a single click. And behind the scene, the SageMaker Unified Studio will create a QuickSight dataset and organize it in a secured folder accessible only to the members within the projects. Any dashboard that you build in QuickSight would stay within this folder and are automatically added as assets to your SageMaker Unified Studio project, where you can publish them to the SageMaker catalog. And from there, you can share them with users or groups in your corporate directory or for broader access, all within the SageMaker Unified Studio. This keeps your dashboards organized, discoverable, shareable, and governed, and making it more cross-team collaboration and assets reuse much easier. Some of the prerequisites to call out here as we look into the SageMaker Studio integration with QuickSights. So first of all, you would need an Amazon SageMaker Unified domain, and you would require a QuickSight accounts. Both must be integrated with AWS IAM Identity Center and using the same Identity Center instance. QuickSight account must exist in the same AWS accounts where basically you're looking to enable the QuickSight blueprint. With that, now it's time to switch to the demo and understand the workflow completely from SageMaker Unified Studio to QuickSight and how the integration works. And with that, I'll hand it over to Salim. Over to you, Salim.
Perfect. Thank you, Neeraj. So as Neeraj mentioned, we have the next generation of Amazon SageMaker that you can use to discover, build, and govern all your lake assets and multiple services within the AWS, right? So with the new next generation Amazon SageMaker, the first step that we require is to be able to create a domain. Since for this demo, we've already created a domain, I'm going to click on view existing domains. Okay. And you can see that I have a Unified Studio domain already created. So once I just click on it, you can see that once I have a domain, it will give me a Unified Studio URL that I'll be using to single sign on to my Unified Studio. And I've set up certain users that have access to this particular domain. What we need to do is once the domain is created, we need to enable the different services that, blueprints that need to be part of that domain, right? So for QuickSight specifically, to make sure that we have the QuickSight enabled, so we enable as the first step that is required. Once you have the blueprint enabled for the Unified Studio portal, we need a project profile because all projects when you create a project, we will need to select a profile. These profiles basically let you select the services that are part of that project that get provisioned when you create the project itself, right? So I have these three profiles that have already been created. I've added QuickSight to my data and analytics and AML model development profile. See over here, I've added QuickSight. If it is not there, you have to go ahead and add a blueprint to the deployment settings, right? Once it's enabled in a domain, you'll be able to add that the QuickSight blueprint to your project profile, right? So these are, and make sure that you have the correct authorized users and groups, and your QuickSight, as mentioned in prerequisite, right? The QuickSight account should be using the same identity center as your Unified Studio that has been set up, right? So with that, that's basically the enable part of the admin side. Once you have that, I'm going to copy this URL and log on in an incognito window to my SageMaker Unified Studio. Okay. Since I've set this up, I'm going to do a SSO sign in. I have certain users. I'm going to log in as the C1 admin. Once I sign in, it basically takes me to the landing page of the SageMaker Unified Studio, right? So if you're seeing this for the first time, this is how the SageMaker Unified Studio also looks like. So you can see that from top, you can actually discover all the catalogs, the bedrock models. They have velocities and terms that you can set, and then you have the generative AI playground. We can actually have a chat with the playground, image and video playground, and then the shared apps with different prompts. Right? So you can discover all of these within the same Unified Studio. You can actually go ahead and build. So we have integrated Jupyter Lab spaces. You have a query editor that you can use to query Athena and Redshift and the Lake. You can build visual ETL workflows and then data processing jobs. For orchestration, we can have workflows, enable pipelines, and all of this for machine learning and generative AI, right? So you can discover, build, and then finally govern all within the same unified platform itself, right? So as a first step, we need to create a project. I'm going to create a new project to show what the experience looks like. So I'll leave this name as default. Can provide a description. As mentioned before, for creating a project, you need to select a blueprint. So as I showed before, that I've added the QuickSight blueprint to the data analytics and AI model development. It shows what services are available. Just click on the more, and you should be able to see QuickSight, right? Very important. If you're not able to see QuickSight, make sure you go ahead and add it to the project profile so that you're able to select this. Once you've selected the profile, you can go ahead and click continue and create the project. The project usually takes a couple of minutes to provision and set up. So I've already done that. So what I'm going to do is just going to select a project and navigate from there. Right. So I've already created this project. You can see I have certain project details below. It gives me the project name, the ID, the domain that it is, the profile that it's using. Okay, and then, but the default S3 location and the project role AR that is used for assuming roles, right? If you look at the project profile parameters, I provided all this information when I was creating it. Very important is one of the configurations that you need to provide a project folder name. So I provided this as SUMS. This folder will get created as soon as we create the first QuickSight asset, and I'm going to walk you through that process, right? So it creates that and gets it in a restricted folder. I'm going to explain what a restricted folder is once we get to that part, right? But important, the name that you provide is what the name is used to create the restricted folder in QuickSight. Okay, so I have this project already created. I have different navigation items on the left hand side. Okay, so what I've done is in my data tab, I have Lakehouse. Okay, and within the catalog, okay, you see that I actually have two different tables. As soon as I click on a table, Yeah, this is a state tile sales data set that I've created as a mock-up data that shows the sales across the XY coordinates represented in the map. I can click on actions and I should be able to say open in QuickSight, right? I can actually quickly query the data also to see what it looks like. So I can say preview data. It opens up the data explorer and a query window and it automatically runs the query. So you should be able to say some sample rows from that data that I have loaded. Right, so you see they have state code, state time, X and Y coordinates, and the sales for that. Right, so very easily open a quick query to be able to explore the data out here, right? But now I want to go back and I want to open this. I've done all my analysis, everything looks good, and I want to basically now use this to create a data source and data set and then visualize in QuickSight, right? So what I do, click on actions, then I can say open in QuickSight. Okay. So since I have access to the project, I'm a member of that project, it uses the role behind the scenes, okay, and it single signs me on to QuickSight, the account that is linked with the domain, and have the blueprint enabled. It opens me a data set tab. I can click on edit data set. Okay. And this will give me the same query editor or the data set editor for QuickSight that we have. And you can see that by default it says direct query, but you can change it to Spice. Once you validate everything information over here, you should be able to save and publish and then be able to visualize. Since I've already done this before, I quickly walk you through what I see, what has been created, right? So if you go to shared folders, what that action open in QuickSight did, it has actually created a restricted folder. So restricted folders are a specific type of folder within QuickSight in which you can tie a data source to this folder and create it. Right, today you can do it with an API. Once you've tied the data source to a folder, all the assets, whether it's a data set, the analysis, or the dashboard, all get created within the folder itself, right? So it maintains the same project boundary as a unified shared project, right? So since everything resides within a project, that's how this is replicated towards on the QuickSight side. So all the assets tied with this data source will always reside within this project boundary. So if I click on Smash, it created all the assets. You'll see that my data sources are created, my data sets are created, and then I have two sample dashboards that I've used from this data set to create the analysis and then publish, right? Quickly walk you through the analysis of what it looks like. Right, so you see I've the tiles data set that I've there, and I've quickly created this simple visualization, and I will publish this. I should be able to publish that into the same restricted folder. Okay, so I've done this before. I'll see that my dashboard is already out here in the same restricted folder. Some simple visualizations that I have. I've created this tile map which has XY coordinate and some state. Just two quick visualizations, but all reside within the same restricted folder itself over here. Right, you will see that with a single click from the Unified Studio, I was able to come to QuickSight, create my assets, data set and data source already created. Quickly do create the analysis and the dashboard and visualize the data, all within the same experience. Okay, so that is the first integration that we've currently launched. What we've done also is if you click on the assets in the project catalog and you search dashboards, you see the two dashboards that I have on the QuickSight side, the sales and the sales price map. We go over here, click over here. See the two dashboards that I have. Okay, these as and when you create the dashboards in QuickSight within this restricted folder, it automatically becomes discoverable within your asset in the catalog itself. So if you search, you'll be able to see this. If you click on the details, it'll give you some basic information about the dashboard URL, which account it's tied to, which region, and when was it created, right? Okay, so you can easily discover here. You can see the lineage and it shows the publishing history currently. But this is completely discoverable in your SageMaker Unified Studio within the same experience itself, right? I can go ahead and publish this asset or make it part of an existing data product that if you have an existing one in your catalog, mm, or create a new data product with uh, this particular asset. Okay. And then you can also share it uh, with your end users right now. The subscription model that you have for other assets that is different. With QuickSight, you have to actually share it with the different users that you have in QuickSight or the project boundary. So you have to make sure that it is shared. Find the username and share it. Once you share it, it becomes accessible to um, the end user. Right. So very quickly, you'll be able to create assets, create the data set, and then the analysis dashboards from Unified Studio in a single click, and then it will be discoverable by you within the Unified Studio assets catalog itself. Right. So these two are the ones that we've currently launched, um, and you can use this in conjunction with all your data from the lake and with Redshift, and to have a complete unified experience. Right. So that's a quick demo. Should you can have questions, feel free to put it on the community channel, and we should be able to answer that. Um, and that's the end of my demo. Thank you. Neeraj, over to you for the resources part.
Okay, thank you, Salim. So from demo now, which was a very seamless demo, unifying the AI and BI in all perspective, you have seen that. And if you wanted to explore all the resources, I see from the chat, one of the question was around the workshop accessibility so that everybody can deploy and uh, test it out. So yes, we are working on the workshop and soon it will be launched. And meanwhile, you can follow our documentation on SageMaker. So you can just, and we'll make sure to put these links as part of our recorded video, as part of the context. We will share that. So you can follow the SageMaker documentations and you should be able to look at the QuickSight documentation itself. If you're not familiar with QuickSights and you wanted to subscribe to QuickSights and deploy your assets or build your assets within QuickSight as well. You can get started with SageMaker AI. You can discover the features, all the tutorials that we have. So you can click on this particular URL. We'll place it on a YouTube, the YouTube channel. We'll place it as part of our recording, this particular recording. And you can just look into different videos, different tutorials that's been recorded and it's been shared, and you can create your assets in your environment. We also have our QuickSight community channel, and definitely you should leverage that to basically access all the events that we are doing it on a regular cadence. And you can look for other events that we are doing it periodically. And then also there are a lot of content and assets as part of our events. You can also go and ask questions, and we have a specialist looking into those questions and supporting you with verified answers. And also there are a lot of articles, a lot of contents around, a lot of demos, links available, accessible from the QuickSight community. It's a single hub where you can switch and learn all the QuickSight resources. We have a feature demo like Demo Central. You can always go back into and look into any industry specific dashboards or interactive dashboard you wanted to see as an example, or you wanted to explore as other assets. And then as you look onto these assets, you can always go and click on this particular analysis option, and you can switch to analysis mode and see how those resources have been built. What are the different configurations or properties we have aligned to, right? So Demo Central is a very cool. You should leverage that. We have our workshops. We will provide this link to the workshop as well if you wanted to leverage this, and it's more self-paced workshop link. Like you wanted to build your interactive dashboards, you can follow the author workshops. You wanted to build up pixel perfect reports, we have a workshops dedicated for that. Or you wanted to use a natural language query basically to create a data Q&A sort of. So you can always go and look for the Q workshops and you can build assets around that. We have workshops for and to learn about our APIs, CLIs, and how the configuration for the users and groups have to be done. And lastly, on the embedding, if you wanted to embed for your users or any assets like dashboards you wanted to embed, or you wanted to embed the Q search bar experience, how do you do that? All that is explained as part of the workshops, and you can create them as part of your learning as well.